Here's a film that I didn't think I was going to be reviewing at all. I just wanted to watch it because I'd never seen it before, and then I watched it and I said I had to. I had to review this. Dark Country. This is directed by Thomas Jane. I'm pretty sure he played the Punisher, and I think this was his kind of like baby that he wanted to create. His film, his idea that it was in his head that he wanted to do. And this is a crazy movie that I had kind of a hard time at the ending of it, because this is a film that it started off like in the first 3 to 5 minutes like a film that I probably was gonna shut off, and then it picked up like high octane good for me, like enjoyable. It's a total B movie. It's very low budget, but it was so much fun. And then it got to the end, and it just was one I had to sit on because it was such a bizarre twist. So Dark Country starts off with this guy in a motel room with this woman, and he's delivering this speech. And at first, it's not a spoiler, but it's just how the film starts off. I thought he was sleeping with a woman who was having an affair because he mentions a ring on her finger. But it turns out they basically had a shotgun wedding in Vegas and met and got married on the same night and spent the night in a hotel and were looking to start their lives together. They're taking a drive down the desert, or planning to go to Sedona, I believe, from Vegas. And they're basically planning on taking this road trip down the desert. And before they leave, the guy starts. The guy stops off at this diner, and there's a sketchy guy talking to him as if he's like interrogating him and like he knows him. Like he's like, "Hey, take care of that wife for you. Be careful to watch for your wife," kind of thing. And you're already kind of anticipating some kind of thriller. But they go on their trip, and basically what happens is they end up hitting somebody, and then what happens after that? They try to figure out what they're gonna do, and this guy is severely hurt, and the decision they make is to try to help him and take him somewhere. But that's as far as I'll go with kind of how the film starts, and then it goes into some wild directions from there, and that's the story, but or synopsis. But the visuals. This is a film that started where you could tell it's budgeted. Um, Especially the opening scene is really weirdly shot. But you're wondering because of everything, the thunder in the background kind of thing. Like, was this on purpose or was this just accidental crap? And I'm trying to differentiate because it kind of looks stylized, but it kind of looks accidental. So I'm like, did the director intend this or not? And I came to the conclusion that the director definitely intended this. The film, strangely enough, I really feel weird comparing B movies to Alfred Hitchcock, but that's kind of how it feels. It feels like an Alfred Hitchcock film. The way the scenes are filmed when they're driving feels like when the woman is driving in Psycho, and the way films were filmed that back in the '60s kind of thing. And then it also has this kind of semi quasi Sin City vibe where it looks like this kind of comic book ish, cartoonish, but real time aesthetic with the backgrounds, especially where and then you have these two characters kind of bantering back and forth. The banter's cool. There is this heavily sensual scene involving the main lead, Lauren German, who's gorgeous in this film, absolutely unbelievably hot. And it's so slow, it takes like 5 minutes or more. And she's kind of like getting all seductive in the car, and she's rubbing ice on herself. And she starts playing with herself, and there's really cool music that really, like this jazzy kind of music that really fits the atmosphere. And this scene, this this sexual scene is just like the most erotic soft core intro to a porno that you could possibly imagine. It's the most sexy thing since probably Salma Hayek was dancing with a snake in From Dusk Till Dawn. It surpasses that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. It surpasses that for me. This scene in particular already is worth a watch. Just that. It's already worth it for me. And then they continue with the story, and it continues like this until obviously a really big climax, and then a really big twist that made me really have to think whether I wanted to review it or even watch this again. But I think after, because I did listen to a behind the scenes kind of review kind of thing, director's perspective, I get it. Um, so I loved it. I would recommend it, especially just to look at. Like, you don't like this, aside from the plot, just the cinematography is pretty nice. The director knows what he's doing with the camera. He knows the shots he wants. There's interesting shots in here. There's interesting play with like editing and stuff, and the acting is great from all around. You get an appearance by Ron Perlman, and it's funny because I was waiting for Ron Perlman to show up, and I'm like, don't tell me this is going to be one of those films where he shows up for a minute and a half, but yet they advertise the hell out of him in the reviews and trailers and shit. But he's there. He plays a cop, and yeah, it's a cool film. It's an interesting watch. It's like 80% of it at least is amazing to me. So I'd go by that. I'd say the it's like the style over substance for sure. The style outweighs the plot and where it goes to. It's definitely a style movie. Like if you like the style of Sin City, not comparing this 100% to Sin City, but if you like kind of Sin City combined with Hitchcockian like hybrid, I think you should check this one out. It's a really cool B movie. I loved it. What else do I have to say? I did not take any notes for this one, so I'm winging it. But yeah, there's some really cool scenes. There's car chases. If you like your big scenes of car chases, if you like your kind of like death proof kind of thing, it's cool. The open like desert atmosphere is pretty well, even though it's open, it's still kind of claustrophobic because I guess the opposite of claustrophobic, I don't know what you would call that, kind of stranded feel kind of thing. And Thomas Jane also stars in it. Oh, another thing I want to say is that this cover art does not merit the film. See, I thought it was going to be more of just a thriller and not have the style or kind of look that it had. And that's the weird thing with when films are advertised like this, because it really does an injustice to the film, because somebody will pick this up thinking it's one thing and then they'll see another thing. For me, I saw it was another thing and I'm like, wow, this is different, but I love it. Whereas I've been in situations where I've picked up a film and then it's just, what the heck? Is this the same movie? Like, did I get the wrong disc? So it goes both ways. But Dark Country is a film that I definitely recommend. It was released in 2009 and I loved it. So don't take my word for it. Go watch it yourself if you can find it cheap. Like I said, the plot is a little bit out there. There's a lot that you have to suspend your disbelief for sure, for sure. You know, some people get hurt, and there's no way they could be alive. Absolutely no way. The gore effects are really cheap. A lot of them are CGI. There's not any practical, I don't think. Maybe some here and there, but I didn't see any. So it's, but I think again that goes with the cartoony feel. I think that's done on purpose. At least that's my take on it. It could have been an accident. It could have been because they didn't have a budget. But I think they used, or Thomas Jane used the fact that he had a low budget to his advantage, and purposely made something a little bit more cartoony and a little bit more over the top. And he even got a cinematographer, I believe. Like I think he was the cinematographer, but at least he got a guy in production that has experience drawing comic books, and he had a professional there on board, stylizing the film and the cinematography and the post production, who actually worked in comics. But I don't want to make this go any longer. We're already over 10 minutes. So cheers, and until next time.